All right, in my study of mud fossils, I found that literally all the rocks except volcanic basalt is from some form of life that I can determine. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Now, opals have this structure right here. You see these little beads? Now, these little beads, and this is from internetchemistry.com, and it's the complex organic molecules on Saturn's moon Titan. And you don't hear about this stuff, but they find this stuff everywhere. Our team's in the first to be able to do this on atmosphere without liquid water. It goes on, it goes, the molecules discovered include the 5 nucleide bases used by life on Earth to build the genetic materials DNA and RNA. These are in the blood, and that the reason that the opals fossilize the way they do, and I'll show you the microscope, and they fossilize that way because they are from blood. Australia is soaked in blood, and I'll prove it to you. And they find that this is all the amino acids, glycine, alanine, amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. They are the building blocks of life. I'll show you something else. You see that? These are all opals. This is what opals are. And you see when they flash is this kind here. See, they're all, and they all fit together, they stick together. And this is opal beads, they call them. And it's just the way they make themselves flash together. Now this is all from life. These are all living creatures that have fossilized in this manner, and these are they're bugs, they call them. And what happens is the volatile organics gas off, and they leave holes in where the arteries were, and the lungs, and all that business. And I'll show you, let me show you something. You see that? That's a heart. That's an opalized heart, and it comes from, I think they call it the Yowa, Yowah region in Australia. Australia is 100% soaked in blood, and listen to this, the Ayers Rock is a heart. That is a heart. And the architecture is there. There was a drone flew over it. The strings of the heart are seen there. There are little tiny holes on the side. They run up in a straight line. But anyway, what happens in blood is the organic matter looks for partners to pair up with, and blood has every partner there is because that's what these things live in. So every little piece like this is, these are the ventricle walls, and they take on a certain type, and it turns gray, and it has these little dots in it, and there's strings of the heart. They call them heartstrings, literally, and I think these are them. And a guy found a heart the other day. It's absolutely flawless, had them in it. But this is an opalized heart, and the blood can fulfill anybody's wishes to bond, and that's why they're so spectacularly arrayed in the correct way. All right, you see that? That's connective tissue in a human being. These are the little fibrils, and it's mineral. It's literally minerals. It's the same stuff that makes up your bones. Collagen type 1. There's like 25 different types of collagens. And this is connective tissue, and it's the same thing that's found in jade and other types of rocks that are the connective tissues that petrify in different ways. But the jade petrifies in a clear way. And I'll show you some electron scope of that. All right, you see that? That's jade. Now, it's a very, very similar pattern, and they're all different. There's different types of jade. There's a very hard jade, and there's a softer jade. I think this is the softer one. You see that? That's nephrite jade. That's what jade is made of. That's why it's so tough. This is the fibers of tendons. And when they petrify in certain conditions, they take on certain characteristics. Sometimes they're in hot, boiling conditions, geothermal, and the stuff in the geothermal moisture that invades it or leaches things out. It's just a process. But this is the way that the tendons have all these tiny little fibers. And you can see them over here. This is not something that it just turns rocks like this. Jade is from life. See that? That's living tendon. That is the little tiny fibrils that we saw all crunched up and so forth. This is a little better because it's not all crushed and been in the ground, but this is it's a similar. It started out exactly like that Nefertite ends up. It's jade. Now there's another type of connective tissue, and I'm going to show you something that's going to knock your socks off. In us, that's like a tiny little connective tissue. All right, you saw that the last feature I showed you in a living, or well, recently dead, small creature our size, and this is what you see in a mountain somewhere in the Middle East, and this is what it is. It's tendinous material from some gigantic creature. The red is the blood, just like the other one, and the white is the connective tissue. It just can't be. You can't deny it. And it's not. It's all over the place. It's not just there. The Earth is made out of giant creatures.